This is a recap of the first 5 seasons of Lost. And here we go. Eyeball. Jack wakes up in the jungle, runs out to the beach, the plane explodes, Claire is pregnant, people running everywhere, they decide to become a group. Jack has to kill the marshal because Sawyer can't do it. There's a polar bear, which Sawyer shoots with his gun. Turns out Charlie is a drug dealer. Turns out Saeed used to work for the Iraqi army. Turns out that Hurley is a secret millionaire. You don't know that yet. Walt and Locke, they become buddies, they become pals. There's a lot of symbolism with black and white. Locke finds a hatch. He brings Boone along because Boone's his buddy. He's his little Gilligan to his skipper. And they find the hatch and they can't open it up. And Locke's like, we have a dream. Yes, we're going to put you up on that plane and you're going to find a way. And Boone's like, we're the survivors of 815. No, we're the survivors of 815. Boone, get out of the plane. Oh, my legs. They have to amputate them, but they won't. So he dies. Meanwhile, Claire is giving birth to a baby. His name is Aaron and Kate delivers it. And they go, oh, look out, we got to get into this hatch. And Locke's like, why? I did everything you told me to. What did I do wrong? Beam of light, everyone goes, oh my goodness. He goes to get some dynamite. They bring in Rousseau. Rousseau, the last time we saw her, was torturing Saeed, who's a professional torturer, so that's quite the feat. Anyway, you trust a crazy French woman, why wouldn't you? With dynamite, she takes him to the Black Rock. The Black Rock is not a rock, it is a ship in the middle of the jungle. Why? I don't know. There's a guy named Arndt, he used to be a science teacher. He's kind of like, you guys are all cool and you're always hanging out all the time. Boom! He's blown up for making fun of the cool kids. That's a life lesson for you. So they take the dynamite and they put it all around, and there's a smoke monster, and it's going to pull Locke down the hole. He's like, let me go, this is my destiny. And instead, he pulls him out, and they blow up the hatch, and the season 1 ends. Season 2. Oh my goodness, we're inside the hatch. This is incredible. Ha! What's the snowman say to the other snowman brother? And it turns out that it's Desmond, and Jack knows him because he was running exercises at the stadium, and he twists his ankle. How did he get in the stadium? I don't know, but he did. And Desmond's there, and then the bang, they shoot the computer. Oh no, we gotta get out of here, because if you don't press the button every 108 seconds, the whole place is gonna blow up. The world is gonna end. So they start sitting down, and they start pressing the button, and Locke's like, I have purpose in my life. Click, 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 click. And they find a man, and his name is Henry Gale, and he's from Minnesota. He's like, I'm Henry Gale from Minnesota. Oh yeah, bang! Also, people get shot because there was a raft. I forgot to mention that from season 1. And the raft got blown up by the others. And they took Walt! Walt! And Anna Lucia's there, and Libby's there, and Mr. Echo with his giant stick, right into the face of Jin. It was fantastic. So they bring them in, and she shoots Shane. Kapow! Anna Lucia right in the gut. She's like, oh, I'm dead. And Saeed's like, oh yeah, by the way, I love you. Why, I don't know, but I do. So they drag them off and they throw them in the jail. And it turns out that Goodwin was actually a secret other. So she stabs him with a knife, and that's why you find the body with the knife the time before. Meanwhile, the others are stealing children. Who knows why? I don't know why. Do you know why? I don't know why. But they keep stealing children. And, oh yeah, so anyway, that gets us all together in the hatch. And they're all living and they have food and it's awesome. And Hurley and Libby are a couple, and he's kind of heavy and she's kind of cute. And all of a sudden, Michael shows back up because he'd run off to find Walt. And he shows up, and Aunt Lucy's like, oh, hey, I've come to a full arc with my character. Bang! He shoots her. Bang! He shoots Libby. Oh my goodness, what's going on? And then they try to bring Libby back to life, but she doesn't, and she dies. And it turns out Henry Gale has been Ben the entire time, but you don't know who Ben is because you don't know who the others are. So they take him, and they get captured by the others. Jack, and Kate, and Sawyer, and Hurley, and don't you think I'd bring you this far if I didn't have a plan? And they put bags over their heads, and the sky goes purple, because Mr. Echo, who was there, decides they should not use the computer anymore. So a giant magnetic pulse, and boom, and Desmond blows it up. Kapow! Season 2. Season 3! We're all in cages for a long time, and nothing really happens. We're in cages, and there's a fish biscuit, and Sawyer and Kate have sex. Woo! And they build an airport. Season 3 starts back up after the writer's strike, and they're all hanging out, and Paolo and Nikki are there, and no one likes Paolo and Nikki, and then they're running around, and Kate and Sawyer and Jack and Juliet are all back, and Juliet, who's Juliet? She's with the others, but you can trust her. No, you can't trust her. Yes, you can trust her. No, you can't trust her. And Locke is there, and does Locke work for the others? Does Locke work for the island? Does Locke work for himself? Nobody really knows. And then what happens is that Locke's dad shows up, and Locke's dad is a scumbag, and it turns out he's the scumbag that led Sawyer's mother to be killed by Sawyer's father, because he'd been cheating on her. So Sawyer's only too happy to kill Locke's dad. So Locke's dad is dead, and Sawyer's mad that he did it, and Locke's happy because that technically makes him the leader of the others now. And Richard, who is Batman in The Tick, says, that's great. Now you can be in charge. And there's other people, and they're showing up, and they're coming out of a boat, and there's a jet, and a girl jumps out of it, and she gets stuck in a parachute, and also Charlie is destined to die. Desmond has seen it, and it turns out that Charlie does die at the very end, helping blow up the radio tower so they can communicate with the girl's walkie-talkie. Except, whack! Locke gets her in the back of the knife and she's dead, but Jack uses the digital phone and he calls him and he's like, we're on our way. And meanwhile, in the future, it turns out it's Jack in the future. He's going, Kate, we've got to go back! And begin season 4. Season 4 starts, and everybody's flashing forward and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards. And basically all you're seeing in the forwards is how crappy everyone's life is. And of course, it's crappy. Everyone's crappy. Jack becomes an alcoholic again. Kate falls in love with an alcoholic again. Hugo is fat and miserable. And everyone is just terribly miserable. And Jin is dead. How did Jin die? Why? God, why? And that's basically season 4. And some stuff happens on the island. Oh yeah, they're jumping around in time on the island. It's not so good. No, it's season 5. Season 5! They're jumping around in time on the island. And it turns out that Charlotte is in love with Daniel, and Daniel's in love with her. But it turns out she used to live on the island. She starts dying because of all the time jumps, and they're leaping all around. And the smoke monster like took over a guy in Rousseau's group and had him kill a bunch of people, and then they killed him. And there's all sorts of things getting killed and jumping around, and everyone's bleeding from their noses. And Locke tells Richard that he's going to be his leader. Because why? Because Richard tells him that he's going to be his leader. So there is a loop right there. And it turns out that, oh my goodness, it was Locke in the casket. That was the end of season 4. I should have mentioned that. Whoop, shoot, he's in the casket. The plane crashes. Everyone gets thrown back into the island. But some of them get thrown back on the island. Some of them get thrown back in time. And Locke is alive again. Well, of course he's alive again. It's cured paralysis, and it's cured cancer, and it's cured all these things. Of course he's alive again, but Ben says dead is dead. Well, what does that mean? What it means is that Jack isn't back in time, and John Locke is the smoke monster. He's the smoke monster, and he's figured out a way to defeat Jacob after all. Because Jacob, we first meet, and he just likes eating fish and sitting next to giant dog statues. And so Locke tricks Ben into doing it, and Ben's like, why would I kill him? And he's like, after all he's done to you, why would he not kill him? Remember when Kimi shot Alex in the head? Kaboom! He brought the smoke monster like a freight train, and everybody in the room screamed, whoa! That's what happens. And a freighter blew up. And also, so anyway, he's a smoke monster, and he tells Ben, stab him. And Ben's like, what about me? And Jacob's like, what about you? And he goes, whooga! And he stabs him, and he falls in the fire, and he says, they're coming. Meanwhile, back in the past, everyone's playing around with detonators and bombs and A-bombs, and Daniel gets shot, bang, by his own mom, and Saeed gets shot, bang, by that guy that's kind of the rat-faced. And Miles' dad gets his hand caught in a thing. It's like, ah, my hand, oh no, why? And Hurley's rewriting Empire Strikes Back. And all of a sudden everybody's getting pulled down to the thing. And Juliet's in love with Jack, who's in love with Kate, who's in love with Sawyer, who's in love with Juliet. And no one really cares about the 4 of them because they're all very attractive. And they're all having sex with each other a lot. And Juliet gets grabbed by this metal chain because everything's getting sucked into the giant metal pit. And she's like, no! And Sawyer's like, oh! And you're all watching this like, why is this happening? And she gets yanked down to the ground. And they come back to it, and she's laying there bleeding to death. And you're like, what kind of snuff film is this? And she's banging on the bottom with a rock. And then, white out. Season 6 starts February 2nd.